Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace. Monetary energy, core of the earth. Doubles every year. Listen to my words. Selling doesn't hurt. Selling is absurd. It's like cutting off your wings, but you want to be a bird.
How we always say, let the market do what it does, you know? Because the thing is a lot of people kind of try to, they get disappointed, right? Let's just talk about it this way, right? They try to get disappointed, right? It doesn't do what they expect the market to do. They're expecting the market to go up, or they're expecting the market to go down, but the market seems to do the opposite, right? And I always say to people, I say, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta leave everything. Stop being glued to your phone. Stop looking at your phone. Stop looking at the charts. Stop looking at everything. Go and watch some Netflix. Go and binge on some Netflix. And I say this because sometimes you just gotta let the market do what it does. All right. Right now, the market is doing exactly what it needs to do. It's doing everything it wants to do. There is massive manipulation, massive control. And I can see that, right? So I'm looking on chain, I can see all the whale watch, all the money coming in. Some of them make sense, like you could see I've been posting some of the stuff on some of the groups, and you can see that basically how the money going into an exchange has also exited with something else, right? Just like as I said in yesterday's video, how you enter a shop, you go and buy something. You buy something because the market, you can't just take from the market. You got to give something in return for the market to be sustainable. And that's what's been happening, right? And equally, a lot of money still on the exchange hasn't done anything. Now, what's my view on that? I think that's more important. I think everybody's kind of, expecting that, okay, something crazy is about to happen. What is it? So one of the brothers asked me, he says, could it be that they're waiting for that one dip? Possibly. Listen, we have no idea what's going on, but there's a few things we do understand, right? And looking at on-chain, we can see that. Number one fact we see is on-chain, a lot of USDT is moving into exchanges, but not buying anything equivalent. Number two thing we can see is a lot of BTC is moving into exchanges, or a lot of Ethereum. Actually, BTC is moving. Ethereum is being bought up, and BTC is moving into exchanges, but being converted into WBTC. Now, WBTC is wrapped BTC in Ether, right? They're being minted, they're being bought. It all makes sense. There's an equilibrium, right? There's a balance. Now, where are those WBTC going in? Well, I can tell you, they're probably going into a yield farming protocol, right? Where they get locked up on an Ethereum protocol and they're going to make more money. Now, the best ones I could think of, they're either doing liquidity mining, so they're providing liquidity with WBTC, which you can do for different decentralized protocols that the institution may be interested in. Or they're going into protocols like Aave, all right? Protocols like Yearn Finance, they're probably going into there. Those are automatic market makers and yield farming, right? You can get thousands of percents of gains over there. So that's where these WBTC are moving into. Of course, the Ethereum's moving into as well, but Ethereum doesn't flash like normal WBTC because someone's got to send their Bitcoin, right, into like a REN BTC or something like this, like where you can wrap the BTC. You got to send it to that protocol. Once you send it there, the same amount of Ethereum Bitcoin will be minted, right? So WBTC will be minted. So they hold on to that BTC, they collect the fees, whatever, and then they print the remainder of the BTC, right? That's what they do. So we see all of those things, happening right now on the chart, and it's good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So what these guys are doing, and what I can see so far, so the observations that I've made. By the way, guys, today is one hot day, I'll tell you this, right? The temperature outside is 25 degrees, but it feels hotter than yesterday, and yesterday we had 27 degrees. I got the AC on, everything on, but even then it's just so hot. Beautiful weather. But so we've got, they're going in, they're getting ready for something. Now, I think there's multiple games a lot of people play, right? And I've always mentioned this, right? Whenever big companies or large corporations and whatnot, or even an institution comes out and announces, oh, we've bought BTC or we've done this with BTC, it's always late, right? Remember, so they're plugging everything in. I think So, you know, we talk about how we had the bull market, and we're still in the bull market as far as I'm concerned, right? We're still in the bull market. How we talk about the altcoin season, right? We're still in the altcoin season. But there's one season we're not in. Actually two, to be honest. So recent dump, and it's on the news, you can read about it as well. Recent dump has seen a 90% dump in NFT. That season hasn't come yet. It's coming, by the way. It's coming. I think NFT is going to really do well because it's gathering momentum and whatnot, and it's getting a lot of interest. Right now, anybody buying NFT, I don't know why they're buying it. It's just not worth it, right? But I think there's a lot of hype and a lot of publicity going on. That's what it is, just publicity, right? Which is okay. It's okay for the market, get their awareness and everything. That's fine, you know. Big names coming out, big buys coming out, you know, big billionaires coming out. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, all right? But I think NFT is going to perform better in a bear market, because that's when everybody wants to accumulate as many as possible and then basically climb it up on the next bull run. So that's what I think the strategy is going to be. Right now, a lot of people who've got money to burn just bought NFTs, right? It's not for average Joe, but the average Joe is going to make money in the bear run. That's something to come in the future. But I think what nobody's noticing is DeFi. I think we're about to hit the DeFi season. Again, it's being pumped by institutions. Money's being plugged in. Ethereum's being plugged in. Bitcoin's being plugged in, so they can pump it, right? It's coming. It's coming. I mean, imagine this, right? You go on a DeFi protocol, you lock your BTC or whatever, and some of them actually you can do trading as well. So, for example, you say, okay, I bet the market's going to go up this way, like kind of like a leverage, but it's a decentralized way of doing it. You just plug your money there and leave it, and then FOMO all the retail. Once you FOMO all the retail, money's going to be coming in. So, you know, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. There are other companies, like, for example, Mike Novogratz of Galaxy Digital, right? They've just announced they're investing 100 million into some crypto project. I bet it's another DeFi. Right? They're all DeFi. It's all going to be DeFi. DeFi is going to explode. DeFi is going to explode. DeFi hasn't actually done anything yet. I'll be honest, DeFi hasn't done anything yet. DeFi has a lot of room to grow, because when you see how much money is locked in, right? The TVL, when you look at that, right? Total value locked. It's like in the billions. It hasn't gone to the thing. So we're not even like, you know, it's not like, oh, it's 100 billion or 200 billion or 300 billion. Nothing like that, actually, to be honest, right? It's nothing like that. We do have good, you know, in the tens, right? I'll just say in the tens of billions, but not on the hundreds yet, right? And what we need to see is it move over to hundreds. But I am seeing hundreds of billions of dollars going in, but it hasn't reflected on the on-chain yet, right? It hasn't reflected on these DeFi protocols. So I'm sure that's what's happening, you know what I mean? So something's going to happen. But this next move that we're going to see, I think is going to be a power move. And I want to kind of put down a warning down there, right? So, and it's all to do with this money going in and Ethereum and BTC and everything going in and out. So understand what I'm trying to say here. It's all got to do with, everything is relevant right now, what I'm saying right now to you, right? It's all relevant, right? Relevant in this particular way, that these boys have entered right now. So these are some of the guys who haven't bought at 65. They didn't buy at all, right? Sorry, one second, let me switch this down. They haven't bought at the top or anything. They waited, right? They waited for the market to come back down to the 30k so they can pick up the dip and they can continue. Some of these guys are probably waiting for the double bottom, because a lot of people thought we had a double bottom. We didn't. If we have a double bottom, we're going to see the 30k again. That's what's going to be a double bottom, right? You know, 30k, up, 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 down again, 30k, up again, all the way to the moon, right? That's what we're going to see. So a lot of people are waiting for that, right? And you can put 50-50. Some people are not waiting. They just bought, they locked it, doesn't matter. Either way, they're going to make money, right? Because the thing is, you know, liquidity, right? Liquidity, very important question, right? I mean, the name, right? Liquidity. See, if you're providing liquidity, in a specific currency or in a pair of currencies. So for example, if you're providing liquidity with WBTC and Ethereum, so you pair it up and you say, right, I'm going to put 50% Ethereum, I'm going to put 50% WBTC, I want to provide liquidity for the supply of this particular coin. And every time somebody comes and buys, or somebody sells, you're earning a portion of that liquidity, right? You're earning an interest on that. And say, for example, something like Uniswap, you can set how much fee you want. You can set it up as 0.003, 0.005, or 0.1. You can even have 1%, right? So that's what it is. They're not really, so for them, it's like they're not interested in the money, because you know, some institutions are interested in making money. Smart institutions are not making the money. They say, well, we don't have to make the money. We let the retail pump the money, but all we have to do is get more. Now we can either take the cash and buy many more and constantly lock our money, or we can buy enough, lock it into a liquidity protocol, a liquidity pool, right? Set our own little fee on it and let the system do its thing and just sit on it for 6 months. Because remember, you can pull out liquidity any second, right? Any second. You can decide to pull it out any time. So when you pull it out, whatever money you made is yours. That's what's happening. And some of these bigger pools, they have better liquidity. Obviously, a lot of people are probably doing it as a collab. So collaboratively, they're putting their money in, locking it in, because the pools are bigger. They get picked up by aggregators and also other decentralized protocols that this is the best place to go and buy and sell. So when they're doing that, these guys are earning money. They're earning percentage. It's all about the percentage, right? And they're earning the percentage in the crypto itself. So when they're earning all of this, obviously for them, it just makes sense. You're making more of it. And when the market decides to move up, remember, let the market do what it does. Smart investors know this. Let the market do its thing. You don't control the market. Market, you know, it's its own entity. It does its own thing, you know. So once the market pumps up again, pull the liquidity, you got yourself more Ethereum or more Bitcoin than you had before. Go and flip, go back to WBTC, swap it over for a real BTC. Happy days, you're done again, right? So this is the thing a lot of people don't understand, right? I know someone asked me recently to do a pancake swap thing on the crypto group. They asked me to do a pancake swap thingy. I will do something like this. I'll make a video, a little tutorial or something like this. I'll make something. Using it is one thing. You see, the thing is, I think the tutorial is not about using it. Using it is one thing. You go, you buy. The key is to learn how to provide liquidity. That's the key. If you can be providing liquidity for a top coin, join a pool, you're earning funds there. You know what I mean? So that's the key, right? That's the key. It's not about how to use. Using is easy. You plug your MetaMask and do it. And there's a lot of, the thing is a lot of people ask me on how to do this, how to do that. The problem is I don't want to show you my wallet. I don't want to show you my Ethereum address. Do you know what I mean? So I'll figure something out anyway. I'll probably just make another little dummy wallet or something and just show you guys how it's done. But you know, most of the stuff when we're doing is a different story. We don't want to show all of these things. You know, when you connect your MetaMask, everything you own shows up. So sometimes we just want to stay anonymous. I hope that makes kind of sense. But I'll do something anyway, maybe a little later on or something. But I think the key is not to learn how to use, how to buy and this and that. That's not the key. The key is how to provide liquidity and mine and earn. That's more important, right? So I think that's the key. A lot of people need to understand, because that's what we do, right? So if I've got an excess of certain coin and I've got an equal amount of something else, for me to earn a nice little decent amount of currency, regardless what direction the market goes, because I'm willing to hold. So that's my holding portfolio. I'll find the best liquidity pool, the one that's most active. I'll plug my money in there as well and leave it, and I'll earn a portion of that in my crypto. So I'm happy. And then whenever I decide, I can just pull it out. The only thing, the only disadvantage is every time you go in, you got to pay a fee, and every time you come out, you got to pay a fee, and usually that's in Ethereum. So if Ethereum gas fees are up, sadly, it is very expensive. Ethereum fees are down, doesn't matter. And again, I think I mentioned this to somebody recently, right? So the other day, Monday, I had that meeting. I actually mentioned it to that person because the person was talking about something, and he was like, "Oh, Ethereum gas fees is very high and whatnot, and this and that." Talking like, okay, fine, but how many? And he was saying like $5. I was like, if you're in crypto, you don't deal with $5. What's wrong with even exchanges? You go to an exchange for that, and even exchanges don't allow you less than 10. It's a fact, right? Exchanges don't allow. It's not worth their while. So if you are interested in a coin, just go to an exchange, right? Why would you go to a decentralized protocol, which is open source, public nature, right? Nobody controls it, and worry about gas fees for a $5? I mean, we go to decentralized protocols, right? And we're talking thousands, right? So when you got thousands of dollars, and this is the funny fact, right? When you go to these protocols and you got gas fees and whatnot, well, technically, the same amount of money it costs for moving $5 is the same amount to move, kind of, like, maybe slightly more, but kind of similar amount to move thousands. So the larger money you're moving, actually you're paying less, if that makes any sense. You're definitely paying less. And also, if you're using a good wallet, if you know what you're doing. So a lot of people, obviously, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know that they can set their own fees, So, yeah, I mean, it depends on your priority level. If you say, oh, I want it done right now, ASAP, you're going to pay more. Even if it's $1, you'll end up paying more because you want that transaction right now. And I've done that before, where I've gone in and I said, I want it now, and the fee was low, so it was okay. To move like $200, I've paid $50, but that's because I wanted it done now. This is something I need to do now, and I know that the $50 I'm paying, is nothing compared to what I'm going to be making on that very time. So me sending $2, I could easily make $1,000. So you know what, $50 is a little bit of an expense. Happy days, go away. You do that. Whereas in sometimes you're probably sending $10,000, and it might cost you $50, right? But the $10,000 is not really going to make you more than a couple of hundred, right? So again, you gotta, the larger the amount, it becomes negligible at some point, right? So that's what it is. It's like most people moving money on decentralized protocols are not moving, your $5, $10, $20. That's not what they're there for. They're there to make money. To make money, you got to plug money. You can't, I mean, imagine this. You plug $5, and just for the sake of it, you paid 5 cents. Doesn't matter. You paid 5 cents to plug that $5, and you're earning money. And the liquidity pool you're in pays you 0.03. That's not even a percent. That's 1/3 of a percent. So how much are you going to really make? Do you know what I mean? So it would take you forever to make $5. So this is, people kind of just look at that one thing, one problem, and just stick onto it. There was another thing someone mentioned recently. We're having a conversation, and the person turns around and says, this FUD, the electricity FUD. Oh, Bitcoin uses XYZ and whatnot, and amount of, electricity, whatnot. It's not green energy and what. I was like, seriously, dude? Seriously? So we had this conversation, and he was talking about how China does coal and, inefficient electricity. I had to put some facts to him. One of the facts is Bitcoin miners, because mining is so expensive, there's a fact, right? It's economics. Bitcoin miners, the people who mine Bitcoin, always look for the cheapest electricity. They're usually in the cheapest ever zone. They're always looking for the cheapest electricity. They don't actually pay an arm and a leg for it. Because remember, everyone's not getting that block reward. So they're burning a lot of energy, but they're burning it to secure the protocol, right? It's not burn, it's a useful thing, right? Talking about coal, well, how do you know the cup of tea you're making with your kettle? The kettle analogy, 1.7 kilowatts or 1.5 kilowatts, or some kettles even 2 kilowatts, right? How do you know that electricity is clean energy? You don't. I mean, you go to the best grill places, they use coal. They use coal to grill because it gives you a really nice flavor. You're eating that. Isn't that inefficient? Isn't that environmentally unfriendly. Someone's dug up the coal and you're grilling your fish, your chicken, your meat, whatever, right? Your Nando's, right? Whatever it is. The point is you're using inefficient energy. You never thought about that, did you? The problem is you're giving an excuse about Bitcoin, but you're not thinking about the day-to-day stuff you're doing. You have mobile phones, right? They're built with microchips. You all know that, right? We've got super microchips, superconductor chips in there. Well, do you know what it is? It's silicon chips. Do you know how much it costs to mine silicon? Never thought of that, did you? You know, this is the thing a lot of people don't understand. You know, miners are looking for cheap energy. Wherever they find it, they'll get it. Now, if somebody's providing it in coal, what's the miner got to do with it? Do you know what I mean? What's the miner got to do with it? Miner just wants electricity. Like you need electricity to plug your kettle. Do you really care where that electricity came from? You don't. You know, in the UK, for example, we've got multiple different companies, like the big boys, right? You've got your British Gas, your London Electricity, your Scottish Power, this, that, whatever. They may claim the energy comes from things. How do you know? They might, but by the time it comes to you, it's come through so many different energy stations, electricity stations or gas stations or whatever. How do you know? How do you know what it is? How do you verify how much percentage of it is environmental friendly and how many percentage isn't? How do you know? You know, so that's the kind of a dilemma. It's like, you know, people are always kind of trying to, because the thing is it's their choice. They're making that choice to say, well, I'm looking for an excuse not to be in it. Guys, listen, we're not asking you to be in it. So don't make the excuses not to be in it. We're not asking you to be in it. You don't need to be in it. But get your facts right. That's what we say, right? Just get your facts right. Because we can sit there and we can have this conversation all day long. You know, Bitcoin is this, Bitcoin is that, used for scams, used for this. Well, guess what the best form of money is for scam? Best form of currency for scam? Cash. Cash. Paper money. Untraceable. Right? Bitcoin is traceable. Right? Again, it's just one of those kind of things. Like people, they just assume, or they've taken the information from some news article or something. And listen, I feel sorry for you for reading the information with a closed mind. I feel sorry for you because the person who wrote it, and I feel sorry for them too, the person who writes the article, half of them, right? They might be in a position to write something and you might be reading it. They're in it for the money. Remember this, right? That's their job. But they are uneducated in it as well. They have no idea. They haven't got the resources to go and get that info and the facts, right? And if they do, they know that they will contradict themselves, right? Everything they've ever written. So, you know, like, for example, there's this guy called Peter Schiff. Everyone knows about him, right? His son disses him on YouTube, but they have a battle. His father and son have a battle. So the son is a Bitcoin bull and his father is a Bitcoin bear, right? Put it this way. He doesn't like Bitcoin at all. And he monetizes on it. He's famous. And I think now he does it on purpose. He's famous for dissing Bitcoin. So many years. This. That's his monetization. Right? His son being a Bitcoin bull and being the son of Peter Schiff. Well, he gets attention for being the son, number one, but being a bull. So that's his business. Do you know what I mean? You know, but there are analysts. We talked about it on one of the groups the other day. Yesterday, actually, we talked about it. Crypto group. And how, you know, certain data analysts and technical analysts, right? What they do subscription services and they charge money to people and they give you every 2 weeks to every 4 weeks, they send you a newsletter. But I see a problem there, and people pay for it, by the way. They charge like, I think they charge like $50 a month, or they charge $1,200 with signals and whatnot and this and that and other stuff as well, right? I mean, maybe the signals are coming in straight up, I'll be honest. Maybe they are, I don't know. I'm not subscribed, so I don't really care. But what I'm seeing is, most of the time, they're taking the last 4 weeks data, last 2 weeks data, and they're just sending that on a newsletter. And I'm thinking to myself, that's old data. But there are people out there who buy that old data, you know, and the person gets rated because of that, right? We do current data, we don't do old data. Old data we use to analyze, of course, but everything else is current data. Everything we're doing in the market today is current. Like today, for example, $1.74 trillion market cap. We know that. We know that within the last 24 hours, because the last video I made was pretty much 24 hours ago. So 24 hours, we've had like, I think Ethereum had like $3 billion enter into the volume. Bitcoin had somewhere around about 5 billion enter into the volume. So we can see the volume pattern slightly changing on the hourly time frame, by the way, not on the daily. Don't see that on the daily. But we see that a little bit of money trickling in, right? But when we look at the total volume, still the same, still stagnant. Still stagnant. You know, BTC up 2% in 24 hours. That's what it is, right? Also, BTC trying to push towards the 40,000 level. It went as high as 39,500. This is today's data. This is today's data. This is all the data. I'm not looking at a chart while I'm driving. I'm not looking at a chart. I can give you this data. That's what it's trying. It's attempting. We drew the lines, and the video, yesterday's video, I'll put it in the link, right? We've got yesterday's video, and also the chart is actually below in the description. Look at yesterday's video. Look at the pattern I drew. So I'm not going to give you a chart today. There's no point, right? Look at the pattern I drew yesterday and see if BTC is actually following that pattern. And you see BTC is following the exact same pattern, right? So we give you current data. I'm not going to give you a subscription service to, you know, give you last 4 weeks data. That's stupid, right? But the thing I see is people are willing to pay for it. And it's like, okay. As a fun, I did do something yesterday. So I am planning to work on something, and I've spoken to a few people. I'm still working on it, by the way. It's not finished. There's a long way to go for me to actually figure this out and get it all set up. I've talked about it in another video as well. I want to do a community fan token just as a joke, similar to like an NFT or something, but that's something later on. But yesterday I sat down and I was messing around with a Telegram group. And do you know what I'm thinking? Because I've got a lot of people on, what do you call this? On YouTube, right? Who ask, they say, oh, what's this group? Now, they want to join the groups, but what, I have to be honest with you guys, right? See, the group, I don't share it with everybody because the group has my personal phone numbers, my business phone numbers. I don't want to be giving that publicly, right? You know, I mean, on every single comment, I always say, you got to beware of all the scammers, right? Beware of all the scammers. All my links are in the description or in my YouTube about page. But I'm not going to share my personal phone number because WhatsApp group means I got to share my personal phone number. I'm not going to share that. It doesn't work like that. So what I'm thinking is, I used to have a Telegram group and I had a bunch of scammers there, but I'm gonna do another Telegram thingy, Telegram group, or probably like a Telegram channel. I think that's gonna be better. I might have a few admins there, so I'm gonna nominate a few admins and let them manage it and whatnot. But I think that will be the best way moving forward, is a Telegram channel where I can unify all the people. Obviously anybody who's my private clients, that's a different story, but the public can be unified and you can enter. So I'm working on something, you know, when it's done I'll give you a shout. I'll probably put it in the description and then you guys could see. But as I said, have a look at the video description, and the link is there for the public trading view chart, and you'll see the pattern still there. The lines that I drew yesterday's video is still there, and if you haven't seen yesterday's video, then as I said, I'm going to put it here on the top right corner. So yeah, I mean, go ahead and check it out. But you know, market itself, like, let me just give you a little kind of a rundown, right? Market at 1.74 trillion, still not positive, still not positive. The scenario for the double bottom still on play. We need to get above the 1.85, 1.89 trillion, right? And remember, the numbers change pretty much every other day. They change. So when the market's bullish, it changes. And currently it's telling me that, you know, the 1.89 is actually the number. So 1.85 to 1.89, it's not far off anyway. That's the point where we need to go to in order to invalidate this bearish scenario and start being bullish again, right? I've been talking to a few people, and I've seen like, I've been watching a few videos myself, and kind of just browsing, like kind of trolling Twitter to see what's going on. And I see some really good data analysts and everything. They've been talking about it as well, and pretty much everyone agrees, right? we didn't have the top. You know, you got some of these guys who have no idea, have been saying, oh, we hit the top, we hit the top, we hit the top, right? And then other people are saying, oh, we hit the bottom, we hit the bottom, we hit the bottom. So we got two scenarios. Everybody's constantly being shouting, well, majority are shouting, and sadly those guys have no idea. I'll be honest with you, I'm not disrespecting anybody. I think they're just getting there. They're getting there, right? They'll get that sometime. We haven't hit the bottom scenario, so that's still in play. And we haven't hit the top scenario, that's still in play, right? So far, the market seems to be following a specific trend where for the next 2, 3, 4, even 6 months, we could even lead all the way into 2022 and continue the bull run, right? Go sideways for the next few months, 6 months, you know, and then reactivate the bull run and then pump it all the way to the moon. Now, so far, I've kept it very conservative, and I said we're looking at the $103,000 to $146,000 to be the first wave, or could be like if we had it next week, that would be the current top, right? But if we prolong it for 6 months, well, easily we got 200, 250, you know, probably even more. So we can have some massive numbers in play if we do this. Now, some people are saying that 500 is actually possible. 500k is possible if we prolong this for another 6 months. Dan Held, he said theoretically 800k is possible. 800k a BTC if this bull run prolongs all the way to 2022, even 2023. He said there's possible to see a 800k BTC. So I'm loving the content. I mean, I think it's really good what he said there, because it makes sense, because he's based it on a certain model. We've got plan B, he's got his model, and I've got my model. So remember, I'm still saying that if the dollar collapses, then it's going to be replaced by something. CBDCs on the horizon, right? Central bank digital currencies are on the horizon. There is going to be a massive change in the finance, in the money that we know. When, I don't know, but I know it's coming, right? And it's coming sooner than we know. And I've kind of roughly predicted 5 years. Roughly predicted 5 years. I think we're going to have a few zeros taken out of our money. All right, a few zeros taken out, definitely. I think there's going to be a massive collapse in some financial system, in some financial currency, and once it's wiped out, you know, a few zeros. So for example, if you got 1 million, you might end up seeing that million being worth 100k, right? Just take a couple of zeros out. That's what's going to happen. I think that's exactly where we're heading, because the thing is, this COVID-19 and everything, I think it's $26 trillion being printed. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Only way to control that money, or kind of wipe that debt off, because it's debt, people got to pay that, right? Which means you know, massive inflation. We don't want inflation. So governments know this as well. Inflation doesn't work. So what happens when you have an inflation? Well, you go into a massive recession. And I think a recession is on its way, but a recession to be controlled or not even happen, you got to take a few zeros off. That's just my opinion. I'm just going to leave it there. So yeah, guys, I mean, I just kind of offloading myself, nothing too much here. I hope the video is informative. Also, let me know in the comments if there's any coins or tokens you want me to talk about, right? Because if you do, then I'll talk about it. Other than that, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on another one very soon. Very hot today. I want to go indoors and I want to put the AC on, even the car AC. I had to keep it down because obviously the fan, you'll hear the sound too much. So yeah, avoiding here, trust me. I'll see you on another one. Take care, guys. Adios.